Eric Bowling and Brett Favre on everything from politics and sports to business and culture.
This year has been insane.
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
That man right there, number 4, Brett Favre.
First NFL completion, and it's to himself.
It's big time and prime time.
That's right, Brett Favre is Brett Favre.
Yeah. Now it's Bowling with Favre.
Yeah, we're joined by one of my dear friends who I sort of met on, I guess, on a video that he was doing, Boys of Fall. Great guy. Just a pleasure to call him friend. Kenny Chesney, one of the top entertainers in all of music, not just country music, in all of music, and one of the few, I think only one other, maybe two, have played Lambeau Field besides you. I know Paul McCartney played, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I've been fortunate enough to play it twice. And Brett, the first time we played Lambeau Field, I'd been nervous before, but it was one of those moments that, leading up to that week to play, Lambeau, I was, as you know, I mean, sports was along with music, but sports was a huge part of my life. And my dad and I, we didn't have a lot in common growing up, but the one thing we had in common was sports. And I remember, and mostly football, honestly. And man, when the buses rolled up to Lambeau to play, I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that, because for years we would roll into a town and set up our stuff a lot less impressive than Lambeau, and when I'll never forget it, man, the first time, I guess just because I'm such a sports fan and, watching you play all those years. And Brett, I watched you play, before I even met you. You were, I think you were still in the league a couple of years. I think you were just recuperating when you were playing with the Vikings when I met you. And right. So there was just the lore of it, it was just, it was one of my, I was really nervous when I went on stage that night. When me and the band and the crew, I was standing up there on stage and I look up and I see all these names up there and to know that, now that you played, that played there all these years, it was just really, it was one of those moments that you don't get every day in your life,
Yeah. Well, and most entertainers don't get it. You and Paul McCartney,
yeah.
Maybe one other have played it. They just don't let people come in there and play it.
No, and that's the thing. Like I tell you, it took us a minute to be able to go back and play it twice. Was a blessing too, because the first time, one of our biggest issues about going to play Lambeau is they didn't want us on the field. That the people there wanted us to come play, but as you know, they only get so many months of sunlight. And so they didn't want all of our stuff messing up the field. And so, but we talked them into it, and it was a great experience. And then I think the last time we played it in 2015, it was just an unbelievable night, because we had Boys of Fall out and Brett being able to go into a town and, because Lambeau's, Green Bay's a lot like a college town, they lean on that team. And it was you go up into a place like Lambeau Field and play Boys of Fall. That is about the loudest I've ever heard anything in my life. It was magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This is from here. And by the way, Kenny, I'm also in Tennessee right now. First time here, beautiful, just a beautiful place. I drove to Nashville. I spent the day in Nashville and I had no idea the influence. I knew it was Music City and I knew it was kind of country music capital of the world, but it really, this area is all about music. Can you just give the people who listen to your music or love the influence of the country?
You must be in the backwoods of Tennessee, Eric.
Your music and you.
Hey, Eric, you're cutting out a little bit.
You must be
we might have lost him there.
Yeah, we lost him.
Some parts of Tennessee don't have internet yet.
Yeah.
Mississippi. So you're in Tennessee. I know last time you and I talked, I think it was a week or two ago, you were in California. How much time you spend in California?
A little bit. I've got a really good, solid group out there that I work out with, and I'm just trying to, Brett, with not being able to work and go do what we do, it's been a really mental adjustment, to be honest with you, and I've got a group of people out there that I work out with out there that keep me motivated, keep me motivated. And because you can get, there's a fine line between a groove and a rut.
Yeah. It's easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. It's really easy to say that.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. I mean, now when I'm working and I know there's something that's in front of me, man, I'm the most motivated guy in the world. But, when the rug gets pulled out from under you, let's, say you're getting ready for a season and all of a sudden there's no season.
Yeah.
To stay in that shape. And I'm not just mean physical, I just mean mental.
Yeah.
There's if you continuously don't do something, to activate your brain, I've learned there can be brain decay,
No question.
And so that's one of the reasons I stay out in California, and I got my workout group out there. It just keeps my brain moving and keeps me in shape a little bit. And I like to smell the air and smell the ocean. And I just also feel a little bit more creative out there,
Yeah. Hey, I think I've lost you a little bit. I think I'm back. I'm not sure. Hopefully I am. And let's pick up on that a little bit. During the COVID pandemic, no one's allowed to tour. I think stadiums are now opening up again. Was this a good time for you to take a break, or did you miss the action of the road? What are your thoughts on going back to sold out concerts?
Well, I hope we get to do that soon. I mean, some things are opening up, but we're watching really closely what the NFL is going to do this year, because a lot of the places we're going to play, we're not going to play this summer at all. So, but we're watching really closely to what the NFL does and how many people they allow in there. And I think that's going to it's going to allow us to see what we're going to do in 2022. And we all got our fingers crossed that we're going to be able to go with with a lot of people in there. But I can tell you that I have really missed it. I miss the energy. That was a good word you used. I mean, I miss the energy, the anticipation of the moment. I'll always say one of my favorite moments of every night is the first note of every night. Because that's what everybody comes to see. They anticipate that moment you get on stage. And that goes for us too, I mean, no matter where it is, you walk around backstage all day and you anticipate getting to do what you do. I miss that energy a lot. Now there's some things I don't miss, I would say it's a lot like an athlete. You got to do a lot of stuff that people never see that gets you ready to see only what they see. Yeah. I don't miss the long days on the bus, just sitting around with nothing to do. And there is some sort of mundane existence when you're on the road all summer. I don't necessarily miss that. But I really miss being on stage. I really do. And this was forced downtime for us. And honestly, I feel like that we might have needed that downtime.
Yeah, but can I follow that up with, now you write songs. Were you able to write, and were you more prolific during this time off? And did it change your music?
This year I have been. Now last year when the pandemic hit, I think like a lot of people, it was hard for me to be creative living in a anxiety fit.
Right.
I didn't know what was going on, so there was no creativity whatsoever.
Right.
But this year's been a little different, and I'm actually going into the studio this whole week. I'll be in the studio making stuff up, and it feels good. And but it's been an interesting time to be creative, because you could go into the studio with the musicians and okay, who feels comfortable? Who feels comfortable being in here? You know, because it's a closed area, and it's been so strange, but it's getting better and better.
And you think, Brad, I just want to just follow up along this theme a little bit, jump in after. Do you think this, what we've been through, what the country's been through, will change what you're writing about on the backside of this?
I don't think so. I mean, I tend to write, just about, try to find commonality with human emotions all the time. Mm-hmm. It's possible that there'll be a human emotion that I write about of people that come on the backside of this, mm-hmm. but I don't think I'll labor on it too much, but it's possible. I mean, like you never know what you're when you're a creative person, you wake up one day and you go, oh, and there's something rattling around in your brain in there, and it may take you 6 months to get it out, but it's being a creative songwriter. There's always, you never say no to anything, really.
Yeah.
I think along with, obviously, the only thing I know about music is I enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think that one of the things that makes you so great is that your songs, everyone can relate to. And, it's like, man, that's how do you know that that's what I'm going through right now?
Well, that's, I've got several people around me that are great song people. But, Brett, I appreciate that. It was because it's just one of the things that, when I was a kid, I would listen to the people that really turned me on and got me excited about music. Those songs were the thread of what made me love them. And when I got to a point in my life where I was able to truly do this for, and live my dream, as you will, it was always really important to me to try to have some songs that made people happy, that made them, think about something, might motivate them in some way, might make them remember someone, get pissed at someone. I don't notice anything, but I think that's what you try to do. Whether you hope that there's a part of you that you've within a song that you've lived, but you also, you got to be smart enough to know that, okay, maybe you haven't lived that, but you got to be, you got to think, well, maybe a lot of other people have. And, mm-hmm. and like there's a few songs in my life. One, for example, There Goes My Life. It's that song about a father and a daughter. Well, I don't have any children, but I know our friend Tim McGraw's got 3 girls, and I know that a lot of people,
Yeah. And we can all relate to that. We know someone, or like in my case, I had 2 daughters, and I go back. There's another song that.
Well, yeah, that's all me. That's my whole life's in that, but all my friends, and Brett, you've met a lot of them on the road with me. We all, and I've been to your home. I knew when I left there. I told my friends with me. I said, Brett grew up just like we did.
Yeah.
It's, and I went, when I wrote I Go Back, it was just about how I grew up and how music touched me, and how specifically each song touched me in different periods of my life. So yeah, that was one, not every song that I've had out has been completely 100% authentic to my life. Kenny, Go Back was certainly.
Well, you got too many dang songs. That's a problem.
well, this is a good opportunity. We've talked to Darius Rucker. We've talked to Ted Nugent, Kenny, and one of the most compelling things for me, and I think a lot of people who watch or listen to us, is to tell us how you did get started. You say I go back. So you talk about how you grew up, but how'd you grow up, and how'd you get started in music?
Well, I grew up in East Tennessee. I grew up in the country outside of Knoxville. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, our whole life revolved around, certain things. And that was usually, all we had was school, and all we had was church, and all we had was our friends, and playing, in sports, and playing sports out in the backyard. And that was basically all we had. And I loved growing up like that, because we weren't on any devices, and we weren't playing video games. We were out in the backyard throwing the ball around, because that's all we had to do. And I loved growing up like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I learned pretty quickly when I was in high school that, you know, I was 5'6" my freshman year in high school. And I was like pretty tall, you know, at that point. Not a lot of the kids were as tall as me then. But by my junior year, I was still playing football, and I was still 5'6", and everybody was taller than me. And I learned pretty quickly that as much as I love being a wide receiver on our football team, I hated going across the middle. And I absolutely, you know, I knew I wasn't going to have any kind of after my senior year, my sports career was going to be over. But I truly loved music also, and that ended up being my true passion. And so I was in college. I went to East Tennessee State University, and I was, you know, I was one of those guys that we all see when we go into a bar or any kind of restaurant that has live music. I was in the corner playing my hero songs with a tip jar in front of me, and I did that for 3 years in Johnson City, Tennessee, and for, you know, basically, I think $25 a night, whatever tips I made. And I played at this Mexican restaurant called Chucky's Trading Post. And I got, you know, $25 a night plus tips. And then I got free enchiladas every night, you know? So when you're in college, that's pretty good money.
No, you were big time.
Yeah.
From there, did you say, or did someone say, Kenny, man, you need to go to Nashville? You need to get, you know, you got to give it a shot.
Well, Brett, the longer that I played out, you know, I mean, I was just honestly, I was just doing it to make extra money. And I always had, you know, I never had aspirations to do what I'm doing now. It sounds crazy, but I always just wanted to be a songwriter. And I remember being in college and people said, man, you ought to try to do this. You know, it sounds right. I'd come see you live. I'd come see you do this, you know, and I'm going, hey, y'all crazy. I just want to make music. And, you know, all the girls seem to really hang out with the guys that played the guitar or, you know, that were the athletes, you know, so I know I'm going to be an athlete. So, but and after I graduated East Tennessee State in December of '90. And I packed my car up and I moved to Nashville and there was some lean couple of years, but I got into the business purely as a songwriter, and it just went from there really, you know, and I got a record deal in '93. I released about 6 or 7 songs that nobody ever heard. And then I got off that record deal, which was, now looking back, it was more like an independent. It was kind of like playing AA baseball.
Yeah.
I was able to get off that, and then I got onto a bigger label and released a couple of songs that didn't work. And then I thought, well, maybe this is not for me. I'm just going to go back home and get a job at the credit union with my buddies. But then we released a couple of songs that started the process, you know, and that's kind of how it happened. There was just never one day where I woke up and made it. It was small little pieces, you know. It was like it was a lot. I make that analogy a lot. It was a lot like you know, a farm system in baseball. Like I just kind of
way up the ranks,
called up.
Yeah.
So, along those lines, you know, Kenny, I'm in Nashville. I'm walking around. I get up early, about 10 o'clock in the morning. All the bars are open. And there are people playing. I'm looking in and I'm thinking, you know, these people are dedicated. These people really, really want to make it. They love music. They really want to make it. You have any message of people who are working those, you know, along Broadway in Nashville, and I guess Broadway in every city, who are just trying to make it in music?
Well, I look at it a couple of different ways. That's one of the questions people ask me all the time. You know, how do I make it? And
good question.
You know, and like so. But here's the thing that I always look at. I don't when I don't know anything about them, I ask them about their work ethic. And there's a culture now where they think, especially the younger people, they think they're going to make it if they get on American Idol, and they think that's how you make it. And I mean, I love that show as much as anybody, but that's not necessarily a message to send to young people about work ethic, about getting better every single day, about trying to, write the best songs you can. And because you're just not going to be, Bobby Bowden told me one time, he goes, Kenny, either you're going to get better or you're going to get worse. You never stay the same.
Yeah, that's true.
And, it sounds like Bobby Bowden too.
Yeah, that's what he said. But I feel that way about what I do. And if I see somebody that, especially when they come to me and they go, hey, how do I make it? I initially go to that voice in my brain going, I don't know if that person's going to make it, because if he's just doing this just to make it, then it's going to be a longer road, because I think the reason you do it is because you just can't help but do it. You got to be those guys down there that are playing in the bars at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's just what they want to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And sometimes I don't know what to say to them. I can't say that. I can't say you're not going to make it, because, but sometimes I am brutally honest with them. I say, you do it just because it's what you feel like you have to do. And I honestly feel that way about me and my band. I think that, if we hadn't played places like Lambeau Field or a lot of the places across the country that we've been fortunate enough to play, I think that we would be playing somewhere. I truly do. But
you love playing.
We just want to play.
Entertaining for people. It could be 3 people, or it could be 90,000.
That's right. So it's interesting when people ask me that, because sometimes I don't think they want to hear I don't know. They want to be that brutally.
They want, it's kind of like a diet. They want the magic pill rather than, the detailed workout regimen. Or,
they don't want the regimen. They want, and it's kind of the way it is. I mean, it is and I'm not saying this is a negative thing. It's just the kind of way a certain generation is now. They just, with everything, they just want it to be automatic.
Yeah.
And
I think I never heard it put that way, but the thing that you just said makes so much sense, that if you're asking me this question, you probably got 1 foot out the door, if not 2 feet out the door.
It's like the old question: how much does it cost to have that boat?
How did I get faster? Or how did I jump higher? How did I throw further? I never really thought about it, but you do it.
You just do it.
I mean,
and if you sometimes you don't have enough time to stop back to that question if you're constantly doing it.
That's right.
Right. So that's the way I kind of look at it. But if I see that somebody's working really hard and they ask me for other advice, like, how do I, if they ask me just about advice about like an agent or whatever, within like business advice, I'll tell them all day. If they come to me asking me how to make it, I tell them I don't know. I just know the way I did. And that was all hard work. I'm not sure that's what you want to hear.
I think.
Well, I'm sorry, Brett. Go ahead.
I think again, I'm by no means am I a music entertainer, or I play football, but for me, when I look at you, and another good example, your dear friend, Jimmy Buffett, who I know fairly well, went to Southern Miss. He would be one of the greatest entertainers in history.
Yep.
Hands down, whether you like him or not, one of the greatest entertainers, and still maybe even as popular now as he was at 45 or 30.
Yep.
And I think the question that people maybe should ask is how do I sing better, or because it's not about who has the greatest voice. There's a lot of great voices out there that will never crack a stage, but it's about how to capture the audience and stay current, and how do I relate to the people who are listening to me. And I think that's, you've done that so well with your song choice and how you sing it. And I think that's probably way more important than, how do I do a falsetto?
Right. Being technically correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that, there's a lot of people like that I truly looked up to, and Jimmy is definitely one of them. But, there's a lot of singer-songwriters and a lot of entertainers out there that, yes, they sing good, maybe not sing great, but I think one of the reasons that I do what I do is because I went to concerts as a kid. I went to see Jimmy Buffett. I went to see a lot of rock concerts. I went to see Van Halen, and I went to see Bruce Springsteen, and especially with Springsteen. You sit there and you watch. He's up there and he's communicating with me. I felt like there would be millions, there were thousands of people out there, but I felt like he was talking to me.
Right.
And that's the genius of what Bruce did. And I think Jimmy's got a lot of that in him too.
Absolutely.
I think that is songs matter, and being, technically correct in your singing voice. I mean, yes, it matters, but I think communicating with someone and making some kid out there through your music feel something and making them feel like that you're talking to them is just as important.
Hey, Kenny, any chance you can, I hope this doesn't put you in a bad position. Any chance you can play a little something? You got a guitar?
Oh, Lord, I don't know. I mean, I got to see if I have to tune a guitar in a minute. I don't know.
Well,
it's a little early to get this going.
All right. So can I ask you? I think this is something you're probably it's pretty cool. I mean, not many people have a Sirius XM channel named for them and with them. Do you get involved in it?
Did I get involved in it?
Yeah. Are you part of the programming? Do you take a
I'm part of the programming. Yes, I'm. No Shoes Radio. Was born out of just all the music that I listened to, growing up and now in my adult life, but also the music that it's the playlist that's on my boat. It's the playlist that I have down the islands. And then there's a certain playlist that I listen to get fired up for Sunday football. And there's a certain playlist I listen to get really fired up, about 10 minutes of nonstop loud music to get me excited to go out on stage. And I went, you know what? We're going to mix all that up. We're going to mix my road life, my island life, my East Tennessee life, and we're going to call it No Shoes Radio. And that's what people hear when they listen to it, and there's a sports slant to it. You'll hear people on there. You'll hear Brett on there. You'll hear John Madden on there. You'll hear Nick Saban on there, just talking about music. And I think that the thing that makes it a little different and why I'm so passionate about being such a big part of it is I get to mix both my passions with his music and sports. And I think one of the things that, especially since Boys of Fall came out, it's crazy. Like, we'll have more sports people at our shows than we will music people, and that's been one of the blessings, especially for someone like I said earlier, sports was such a huge part of my life and my father's life. And to see my dad at a show for Brett Favre to walk up on the bus and, or Ben Roethlisberger or whoever it is, like all these people that we've all watched on TV for years, it's really something beautiful to share. And it's been one of the blessings of my life, being able to meet people that I truly respect.
Right. So I have to tell this funny story. And Kenny actually picked me up in his plane. My wife, my daughter, 2 daughters, and a few others went to his concert Swamp Fest, I think is what it was called, right, Kenny?
I think so.
Was it LSU? And there's 85,000 people there. I mean, they've been hooting and hollering all day. And the first thing, I go on the bus and we're just chatting, and here comes Vince Vaughn, who I love Vince. Anything he's in, I laugh. And he was, first of all, he was totally opposite of what he is in the movies. He was laid back, loved country music, loved Kenny, and I'm like, Vince Vaughn,
Me too.
So we're sitting on the bus. Kenny's getting ready to go play in front of 85,000 people, and the damn bus catches on fire.
That's That's a true story. I said, Brett, you smell smoke? He goes, yeah, I've been smelling smoke.
I thought maybe he was hiding Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson somewhere.
Well, and look, I had to go on stage, and when I went on stage, they were trying to get everything off my bus, my personal belongings that they could. And by the time I got off stage, I didn't have a bus. It's crazy.
Can you believe that? Man.
Unbelievable.
Your boat, Kenny. I know I think we have a mutual friend, John McGinnis, who's one of the co-owners of Floribama. It's just a great place in the world. Says you love. Tell us about what that getting away on that boat means to you.
Oh wow, it's I spend the majority of my time, especially when I'm working. I spend the majority of my time on a bus, and going from city to city, and even when I get to that city, most of the time I feel cooped up on that bus, So the boat is 180 the other way. I've got the open sky. I just feel free out there, and I can put my music on. I can, depends on what time of day it is, I can have a cold beer and watch the sunset and just feel that salty air on my face. I mean, nothing makes me happier than that. It really doesn't. And like I said, though, I spend so much time on my bus. When I get to go to the boat, it makes me really happy, and it's just a place for me, because I spend, especially when we're really in the zone out there working, every day is kind of the same, except, the crowd's different every night. But, I get up every day and I get a workout in, and then I go to catering around noon, and I do whatever between 2 and 4. And then I really eat early dinner, especially if it's a stadium night, because it starts a little earlier. I'll eat my dinner around 4:30. I'll lay down for a couple of hours, and then I got a meet and greet. And that usually lasts about an hour and a half. And then by then I'll have about 45 minutes to say hi to friends that came to a show. And then I go do my show. Yeah. That's my whole day, almost every day. But when I'm off the road and I'm on my boat, the thing I think I love most about my boat is there's no 2 days are ever the same. It's great. I mean, that's what makes me happy about it.
Yeah, that's great.
The question is, when do I get invited down to the boat?
This week. I mean, I'm telling you, whenever you want to go.
Well, I'll take you up on it. Maybe not this week.
It's a lot more fun in football season, because I got, I got 2 pretty big screens on it. We can open it up the back and shoot. It's a cool boat, man. It's a lot of fun to go down there with some buddies and watch football.
Well, next time. Yeah, I'm waiting on the invite from you and McGraw. McGraw, he's always spear fishing or doing some crazy thing.
Yeah, he is. Or working out. He works out all day.
Yeah, he ain't got a life.
Yeah. Not when you're working out that hard.
I agree.
He's what it's called. He's hangry all the time. He don't he does is work out and he don't eat. It's like he's hangry.
I agree. Well, I don't know. We don't want to keep you much longer.
All right.
I mean, we keep you all day, but I know you got other stuff to do. Man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, Brett, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I tell everybody, it's the first time you came, and we can't even get into this because nobody know what we're talking about. But that day you came into my bus at LSU, and I had that sign on my thing, and I said, up Maynardville, by God, and you said, you come out and you looked at me and you went, is that the same Maynardville on them tapes? And I knew right then with all my buddies, I said, me and Brett Favre is going to be friends.
We like that.
We connected.
Look, Eric, and for all the listeners, there's this, I guess I'd call it a pirate tape. How would you call it?
Yeah, it's been forever. I mean, the first time I heard it was in college. And then there's been a couple of people try to recreate those whoop your ass tapes, and they actually sold them. But the original ones is the ones me and you heard.
Right.
And still to this day, I'll hear a reference to Maynardville or any kind of auto parts store. I mean, it's just I'll stop and take a picture of it and send it to Brett, and I'll say I'll be up there at 5 o'clock, buddy.
Now look, Eric, this is our relationship. Now we'll talk on occasion, but not like this world today. You know, you text or something, but
yeah,
I may go 3 months without hearing from Kenny. May go 6 months, and all of a sudden I'll get a text to say, "Are you that little chicken shit bastard?"
I bought it off of.
Yeah, I'll say I might be. This is this pirate tape, you know, we're referencing to, and then we'll go 6 months without talking again.
Yeah.
Or maybe a week later, I'll get a response because I'll say something like, "How big a boy are you?" You know, something like that. We just go back and forth this banter. And, I mean, if someone were watching or listening in or reading, they'd say, "What in the hell is going on here?"
Yeah.
But it's the funniest thing. And Kenny's right. He probably thought, "There's no one in hell but my buddies know about this."
That's right.
But it's the funniest thing.
When you brought it up, I told my friends on the bus, I said, you know, it's crazy, but we're going to be friends with Brett Favre because he knows about this.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Unbelievable.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And keep putting the hits out.
I'll try, brother. Thanks for having me.
Hey,
and,
Kenny, thank you also, my friend. Great
Love
state
you,
here in Tennessee.
Love you guys and enjoyed it. And let's do it again.
Yes.
Love
Thank you,
you.
Ken.
All right. Thanks, fellas.